to the leadership. Welcome to the Leadership Ladder series. I am D. Wilmore, head of brokerage here at Radius. I thought it was very important that we revisit this topic today, which is all about leading in a difficult market, right? Leadership's a multi-tiered, multi-pronged strategy, and when we're in a difficult market like we are now, right? It's uh, it's difficult to exercise our leadership skills in a way that those who we lead want to follow, right? Everybody's uncertain, everybody's unclear. Now, we did a session similar to this several weeks back, but as I said, I thought it was important that we revisit this primarily because many of you are going through uncertainty. Many of you are experiencing issues that you've not dealt with before. So let's talk openly a little bit about what it takes to lead in a difficult market, thriving in a difficult situation. As a leader, no matter whether it's a gravy train and life is awesome and we're constantly bringing in new monies and new business and growing and building our teams effectively, we're always wanting to create new opportunities. Every day you are not in front of someone, you are unemployed. Every day you're not in front of a real estate customer who can affect a real estate deal or get you into contract, you're unemployed. If you're a team leader, every day that you're not hiring and building your team, you're unemployed. So always ask yourself, how many unemployment days can I actually support during any calendar year or fiscal year and be effective, right? Some of you may have already maxed out on your revenue projections, and so you feel you're already there. Some of you may already be at capacity with your recruiting efforts, and you want to focus on really bringing the quality to your team and getting your existing team well trained so that they can produce. But either way, those are all opportunities. Those are all creating new opportunities. So as a viable leader, you're always wanting to create opportunities. Certainly in an economic downturn, resource conservation is the key to survival. So all of you know that we constantly have our pockets picked, right? Every collateral industry or peripheral industry that's next to real estate all have the magic pill. They all have the keys to the kingdom and that they can give us whatever we need. And all we have to do is subscribe to whatever product or service they're selling. Well, I think we're all aware that that's not entirely true, right? I think that we look at the products and services that are being offered to us and we look at them as a tool we want to put in our arsenal. But again, it's the face to face activities that actually create business. Social media is phenomenal. I don't know what we did before we had social media, right? It's amazing that we continued to live life prior to social media, but it's just a tool. Sending out direct mail pieces, just a tool, right? Sending out email campaigns, just a tool. If you're not face to face with people, you're not treating yourself correctly. And again, when economically the environment is in crisis, we want to reduce the amount of money that we have going out of pocket, right? Because you've got fewer and fewer real estate customers who are making immediate decisions. Some of them are concerned with what their next steps will be. Is now the right time to buy? And I submit that it's always the right time to buy. But they're concerned about what their future looks like as well. So they may be pulling back on when and if they want to execute now or in the near future. And so your spend also needs to be put in check as a leader, right? So you also need to position yourself to benefit as some of your competitors start to contract or actually even put a pause on their real estate careers. Many people get into the business, I submit, sometimes for the wrong reasons, but when life is flush and there's an oasis and everybody's happy and plenty of food for everyone to feed on, everybody looks and says, "Oh, that looks fun. I think I want to get into that. And any industry is great when there are no problems, when everything is flowing and everybody's happy. But as difficulties start to present themselves, as challenges start to surface, then those folks who got in when it was nice and easy and fun now are faced with difficulties that they've never seen before, and they are not sure how to navigate through. So now they begin to have doubt. They begin to surface their own fears because they didn't get into real estate for the hard times. They got in it for the good times. And you'll notice I keep referencing the word career. This is a career. Real estate is an industry. It's not a casual thing. It's not a, sometimes thing. It could be if you're not looking for success. Anything could be if you're not looking for success. But if you're looking for success, you're certainly wanting to leverage all the opportunities that are available. And you're certainly wanting to grow your knowledge and in order to be more successful. So as your competitors falter because they may or may not have gotten into the business for the wrong reasons, those are opportunities for you to swoop in. As a leader, if you're looking at growing and developing your team and you've got some strategies that allow you consistent success while you're going through some transitional changes in the market, that's an excellent opportunity to grab the best of the best from your recruiting efforts. Folks who are also looking to make career changes because they may have chosen poorly or incorrectly the first time around and ended up with a company or a team that doesn't support their goals and their values, now's the time to have meaningful conversations with those folks as a team leader to say, hey, look, I get it. This is where it is. These are the things that I can offer. I believe that together we can grow and do great things. And then you're very well positioned when the economy recovers. So those are some opportunities that you want to be aware of. Um, an economy in decline is often the opportunity to regroup, rethink, and renew. So, that's pretty self-explanatory and sounds easy on paper, but the reality is when we're in full motion, it's difficult to create natural stopping points to where you can pull over. It's like being in a race. When you're in a race, you're going making left turn, left turn, left turn, left turn, right? Because tracks are oval, so you're always making left turns. But as you're making those constant left turns, now a good time to pull over and reevaluate and make sure my engine is running optimally and my tires have fresh rubber and there's plenty of oil and I myself need a water break or a bio break. Is now the time? Because we're always concerned with, will our competitors surpass us in the markets that we work? Will someone else be the new champion, the new victor, taking away opportunities that may be yours? I would say yes, take every opportunity to reevaluate. We are constantly reevaluating our business, even as or if you still sticking with the track analogy, even if we were driving around a racetrack, we're evaluating, did I come into that turn too fast, too slow, just right? Am I well positioned to continue at this speed? So, those kinds of things. So that's kind of how we look at our real estate business. We may have plenty of real estate business for the next 2 months, but does that mean we'll have real estate business for the following 2 months and then the next quarter and then the next quarter and so on, right? We're constantly looking at what our prospect modeling is so that we're always replenishing our pipeline. Guys, ideally, as a leader, you should be encouraging your teams to bring in at least two new people in their pipeline per day. Let me say that again. Two new people in the pipeline every single day, right? That's the only way that we can survive, and particularly when economic resources are at a minimum. You need to be bringing in a minimum of two new people per day. Earlier, I said, how many days of unemployment can you afford, right? If you say I can afford 180 days of unemployment, that means you're not working for 6 months of the year, right? Many of us aren't in that position to where we can effectively take off 180 days in any calendar fiscal year and still meet our financial goals. Some of you are, and I think that's great. That's I know plenty of real estate professionals who actually plan out because they vacation frequently. They plan out the level of customer that they're going to seek, what that actual median price of the project that they're selling is, so that they can hit their goals early so that they can take the time off. And many of you may be there already. But, again, when things get slow, it's always a good idea to adjust. Sometimes those adjustments may mean, parting ways with some of your existing team members who may not actually meet the standards that you're trying to get to. It may be that you're reviewing the tools and services that are in your umbrella so that you can see what's been effective or what's just spending your money. Okay. So consider doing some of the following as you're looking at kind of exiting out. Again, reviewing your strategy, making sure that your business plan is tight. We are in business planning season right now. So I want to talk about this for a minute. People all say, "Oh yeah, I've got a business plan," and I ask, "Well, can I see it?" And the reality is, well, I don't have anything written down. Actually, well, I have some notes, but guys, a business plan is exactly what it sounds like. It's a plan, it's a strategic roadmap to get you to where you want to be from a goal perspective. Those goals include income, they include your recruiting strategies and how many bodies do you want to bring into your team every month, and what's the rate of production for each and every one of your team member. What is your mission and vision statements, right? A business plan is written down so that it can be shared with others. How difficult is it to cast your vision just by your words, by your spoken word? Hey guys, this is what I want to do as a team, and this is this, right? People learn in many different ways. And most of the time, one of the best ways is in writing. Can you imagine if every single real estate contract we did was just verbal? Oh, well, remember you said you were going to pay the commission. No, I didn't. Well, yeah, but you said you were. Well, no, I didn't, right? There's nothing for anybody to follow, and it's always easily manipulated when it's verbal because it's a he said, she said. Um, as a matter of fact, under the statute of frauds, you can't even get paid if you don't have a real estate contract in writing. So why wouldn't your business plan be in writing? Something that you've taken time to really evaluate and understand so that you're clear as to what your vision is, what your mission statement is, what your goal projections are from a revenue standpoint, how much you're going to recruit to grow and build your team. What do you plan on spending on marketing, et cetera? You guys see where I'm going with this, right? So it's got to be written. And again, when it's economically slow, it's time to evaluate the business plan that you have existing and make adjustments. These things didn't happen. These things did. Keep what works. Let go of what doesn't, and replace or delete anything that doesn't make sense. Okay. Business plans have to be in writing, guys. We are in business planning season. You need to have a clearly outlined, written business plan so that you know where you're going and that your team knows where you're going and can follow you effectively. Okay? Got to be in writing. I know that's difficult. It sounds overly complicated, and it's really not. A business plan can be simple. Make $2 million this year, have 500 sales, whatever it is. It can be very simple, but you have to have something in writing so you can make adjustments in real time. The other thing is you want to lead by example, right? It's very easy when things get rough for us to panic. Think of it like any authority figure you had when you were growing up, or your parents. When your parents were worried, hey, the kids were worried too. I've never seen mom upset. I've never seen dad upset. They're freaking out. When they're freaking out, we're freaking out because it's the uncertainty of those who we follow when they seem confused or lost or don't have clear direction. then we begin to wonder, are we on the right path? Right? That's when teams start to contract, is because the leaders themselves are not clear in the direction of where they're headed. And so those team members start to question, are they on the right journey with the right leader? Okay. And then they start to seek out other leaders who reflect the values that they're looking for. Okay. So as you're leading by example, remember I said take advantage of every opportunity. If it's a slow market, you yourself should be out there looking for new business as well. I understand that if you're a team leader, your primary business is growing and developing your team. But when it's a slow market, your team may not be sophisticated enough to know the additional methods of going out and prospecting for new business. So by you taking the reins, showing them, hey, guys, it's not that difficult. I'm somewhat fearless, and let's go out and just make it happen. What's the worst that someone can tell you is no. Okay. You've got to take responsibility, personal responsibility for the growth of your team. Again, it's your vision that they're following. And if your vision is unclear, their vision is unclear, their direction is unclear. So you want to make sure that they actually have a definite path to follow. You want to continue to innovate. That's an interesting word. You hear the word in certainly in prop tech and real estate, you hear that word so often. Innovation. What does innovation mean, right? I look at the word innovate and I look at it as the way that we actually, the way that we change. Any form of change, in my opinion, is innovation, especially if it makes your life easier, if it creates less stress, right? It's innovative, right? It's the way we implement ideas in order to bring value to our lives, right? And when we talk about innovating, we don't want to innovate and just buy stuff. Like, again, we like to spend lots of money on products and services as real estate professionals. Um, I've, I've wondered this for decades. Why do we constantly spend money on things? Because it looks great. It's a shiny penny, it's unknown. Hey, they promised this thing's going to be great, right? It's like the Ginsu knife, that commercial of the past. That hey, the Ginsu knife will cut through anything. It'll cut through a tree. It'll cut through a metal can, and then still slice the tomato razor thin, right? We're always looking at that thing that it perceptibly adds value. That's kind of how I see innovation. It's how we implement ideas. But where we add value is, again, if we're leading by example, we're looking at, how do I train up my team? How do I get them away from fear and toward, or more specifically, using that fear energy in a creative way? I've talked about fear energy in previous sessions, but it's that natural um, discomfort that we have when we're introduced to something new. That's a type of fear, but that fear is powerful energy, because the only thing we're afraid of is the unknown. And more specifically, we fear failure. uh, we fear failure often, but we're overcome by the fear of success. I don't think I quoted that right, but I think you guys get the sentiment, right? We fear failure often. It's like, oh man, I don't want to do it because I don't want to fail. 9 times out of 10, that creates inactivity. But the fear of success is even more powerful, because with success comes major responsibility. Right now, we have to duplicate the same thing we did before. We all dream of success, but do we take the necessary steps for success? So when you're looking at innovating what you have existing, in other words, implementing the ideas that are in your head, or readjusting the ideas that are known as your vision and, your mission statement, you want to do it without adding any additional costs to what you've already got going on. A lot of times, most of us are looking at ways of spending our way into difficult situations. So it's a difficult situation, my pipeline is drying up. Should I find new lead sources that will cost me X amount of money in order to feel like I'm still um, functioning at a pace that I was before? I submit that it's never a good idea to attempt to spend your way in a difficult situation. Again, you want to be well positioned, well poised to handle or weather any um, lack of income that comes in over the next weeks and months if the situation gets dire, right? So again, conserving our resources is key. So figure out a way to innovate or add value to your team and your business model without spending additional money. Use the market conditions that exist to create a strong business model for the future. Again, we can weatherproof anything, right? We can weatherproof anything given a set of variables, a set of known circumstances. We can weatherproof anything. Same with your business, right? The economic climate is a variable climate. It's up, it's down, it's in the middle, it adjusts quickly. Sometimes it takes a long time to adjust. It hits all the marks, right? You know, while we can't time an economic downturn or an upswing or any of the above, we can absolutely position ourselves to where I can shut these things off and activate these things, or I can activate all of these things at the same time, or I'll only activate a very minimal amount of things in order to survive, right? We want our business to be weatherproof. We are constantly adjusting to the climate that's around us, the economic climate that's around us. Even when there were multiple offers and over asking and homes going for well above market rate, those were still times we had to weather because even though there were folks out there in a feeding frenzy, like a hurricane coming to town and everybody's in the supermarket pulling all the food off the shelves, including the toilet paper, that was kind of what that was like. And we weren't well braced because we didn't advise our customers or clients accordingly. We were caught up in the frenzy as well because we were merely trying to get our customers positioned, but we weren't restocking our shelves or we weren't squirreling away resources. Okay. So that's how you start to actually look at creating your business model from a position of strength, right? If you're in contract with certain vendors and people that you've had relationships for a while that provide you with goods or services, start to negotiate those rates. Hey, look, I've been a customer of yours for a good long time, or I'm paying for these leads, or, I don't want to pay this. I want to continue to do business with you, but not at this rate, right? Really start to look at your business model in a favorable way that says, I was happy to pay these higher rates at a particular time because the market was flush. Life was good for me, so why not share the wealth? Now's the time to look at all your subscriptions, all of your uh, softwares, all of your SaaS relationships, software as a service relationships, all the things that you're doing to keep your business afloat. Now's the time to really look at, is it appropriate for me to negotiate or renegotiate what those things are, or terminate those relationships if it's cost neutral. Okay. Again, can't stress enough, you want to manage your cost. You want to manage what you're spending for your team. Every good business does that. You want to run lean so that you can maximize your margins. You want to run lean. You don't want to run fat because, again, the more you're spending out and your margins are small, the likely it is that your business is going to fail because there's not enough revenue for it to support itself. Okay. Encourage your team to be more cost conscious. Again, we all think that we can spend our way into wellness. Let me just try this. Well, hey, okay, these things are going on, but nobody else is doing this, so I'm going to spend my money on this. Guys, it's just an exercise in spending money. Okay. You're constantly wanting to implement an improvement plan. Um, as I said earlier, using the market conditions to really future proof your business model is the way to go. You want to build a culture internally for your team that constantly says, "Hey, I'm for you to I'm for you. I'm here for you. I want you to improve in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your style, your customer service, your client engagement, all those things." And it's a culture of growth. Really take the opportunity right now to evaluate your business. Is it a climate of growth, right? Is it a culture that people want to come to because they feel supported and that they can grow and achieve their own personal goals? Or is it more of a haphazard, hybrid kind of sometimes you feel like supporting them, sometimes you feel like yelling at them, kind of like your kids, right? You really want to evaluate, is your business model one that stresses and supports continual improvement? Okay. How committed are you to your team, especially in a downturn? Again, we all look at our personal values when we're involved in a situation that is uh, unknown or feels like we are also, um, in the crosshairs of something that could be damaging for us. So our negative messages bleed through to every message that we give our team. When we're scared, when we're uncertain, when we're not sure of what our next steps are, whether our words align with our actions or not, people can always tell. Yep, you don't feel genuine. You feel like you're scared. And again, from a leadership perspective, if we're giving off the wrong vibe, our team members are going to take the wrong vibe, right? And if they take the wrong vibe, guess what happens? Then they're also looking to be elsewhere because they're not clear as to what the goal is. Okay. Again, knowing that in an economic downturn or when there's a transitional market, there are lots of pundits out there that are giving all kinds of messages. And 90% of the time, those messages aren't positive messages. They speak of doom and gloom. They speak of the world collapsing and things not going favorably for the now and the near term or the long term. They're giving out language that causes people to be unclear as to what next steps should look like, right? We know right now, fortunately for us, that we actually have a glut of jobs, right? There are about 6 million job seekers and about 10 million jobs. And that may not be across all sectors, but it's still those things. But there are people who are also losing their jobs in certain industries. There's aspects of housing to where people are losing their jobs, right? People aren't seeking out loans in such a rate. So you've got a lot of mortgage people who may be, whether voluntary or forced to take some time off. You've got personal and corporate bankruptcies that are increasing because in good times, we tend to spend like there's no tomorrow, right? I think everybody's familiar with that cycle. We feel like life is good, life is flush. Hey, no worries. Let's have fun. Let's overextend. Let's take that beautiful holiday or buy that boat or buy a newer, bigger house or all those kinds of things, right? People tend to overextend, and that tends to promote, bankruptcy or financial adjustments, things like that. So as we're looking through all those things and we can hear the noise and hear the chatter, as leaders, we know that these kinds of things weaken our morale, right? It's hard to have a culture of positivity when you see all the things perceptibly crashing around you, right? Doesn't mean they're actually crashing around you. It just means there's a perception that things are going wrong and how do we fix it? That happens in the workplace, that happens socially. And so that panic can severely damage your productivity along with your team's productivity, right? We're hearing the noise, so then we tend to naturally pull our car off the racetrack because we're thinking, yeah, the flag keeper is going inside because it's going to rain, and so I might as well not race, right? That's not the right time. That's the time to encourage your team to continue to stay on the track, to maintain their position. As a matter of fact, to strengthen their position. I mentioned earlier, you'll find plenty of your colleagues, your fellow practitioners that are not skilled enough, that have not taken the time to up level their education uh, to create growth and to create a consistent business. So those folks are pulling off, and the clients that they serve that may be unclear or underserved at this point in time are up for the picking. So this is not the time for you to pull your car off the road. This is actually the time for you and your team to double down. Put in a more powerful engine if you have to. Put on more rubber on the tires. All that good stuff. Now is the time to get your race on. Okay. You want to reinforce that this is just a cycle. Like in any business, it's a cycle. Things happen, right? If you weren't prepared for the downturn, why did you get in the business in the first place? Life is full of ups and downs every single day. There is no possibility of constant win, right? Even winners have to lose sometimes. That's just what keeps the world in balance. There is nothing called a constant win. Okay. There's not a constant win. So invest, you yourself, invest in better training for you, right? Really look at, have I been an effective leader? What is my leadership style? I've talked in several sessions about leadership styles in this leadership ladder series. What kind of leader are you? Have I been effective? Am I getting the most out of my team? Am I creating value for others? Am I effective for someone to follow me? Has my vision been cast to where it's easily understandable? All these things kind of sit in your purview, they're in your bucket. So look at when things perceptively change or are in transition. Now's an opportunity for you to up level yourself, right? The more you up level, the better you can lead your team. And if you're not clear what I mean by up level, now's the time to revitalize your own skills, add new skills that you don't have. Many of you are first time leaders or first time business owners, and you're not clear as to what is the best way for me to own or manage my business effectively so that I can create growth and consistency for my team itself. Okay? I mentioned earlier that during an economic downturn, people who are with existing companies or with existing teams and they feel like their company or their team is not going in the direction that aligns with their value, they start to look over the fence. They're looking at greener pastures, right? That grass looks a heck of a lot greener, and I don't see any weeds in that grass. And it always seems like there's plenty of water on that side of the fence, whereas mine is all brown and dirt and doesn't seem like it ever gets water. See what I mean? So people are looking. If your values are aligned with growth and success, people will be looking at you. Your recruiting effort will be far less strenuous if you're bringing something to the table, right? That's why I said if you're not clear about your leadership skills, up level what those things look like because you're wanting to attract quality people. Again, just like in the race, coming out of this rain delay, you want to be well positioned to where you're on the track. You've got all the necessary tools. You're ready to go. You're poised for success. You're poised to lead your team to victory. So start really evaluating who's on your team right now that you feel that carries your vision, that carries your mission, that understands your vision. They see the end of the race just like you do, and that end of the race that they see is the same one that you see, which is a trophy being held in one hand and a bottle of champagne in the other, right? That's what when you start to attract people who are like minded like you. Now's the time to start having those conversations. And these are very organic conversations, just as simple how's your business? How do you see the real estate industry in the next 2 to 6 months, right? Keep it short term, not long term. That way you can build into conversations about what future casting looks like. But start to look at your people, and I'm not saying to exit on your people if you're highly committed to them, if you truly feel like they are going to bring your vision to reality. But unfortunately, we all have team members that may not fully turn the corner when it comes to understanding your mission and your vision. Okay. So look at, can I up level my team? Can I bring folks who are more like me, or in some cases, even better than me to help to facilitate my mission and my vision? Okay. Again, it's if you decide to retain the people that maybe are struggling or having difficulties realizing the direction that you're trying to take them. And that could be a combination of things, either poor leadership performance or poor team member performance or a combination of both, consider reviewing goals and resetting goals. Sometimes we make our goals so lofty because they sound so good when we say them out loud, and others are applauding us and patting us on the back and say, "Oh my God, that's so great. I love what you're going to do." Right. But they're so lofty and they're so complicated that it's difficult to execute on any of those things, right? When we have too much on our plate, it's difficult to decide what we want to eat first and how much of it, right? So when you're talking about building your plan and building your vision, it should be lofty but achievable. It shouldn't be so complicated to where it creates paralysis. Again, when we have so much going on, it's hard for us to make decisions. And so it ends up in paralysis. We end up doing very little, if none at all, right? And when we have too few things on our plate, then we end up disinterested because there's no mental challenge that's involved. So it's like having a super easy piece of homework, and you're like, I'll wait till Sunday night or Monday morning because I already know it, right? And it's such a super simple thing. You don't spend any additional time in research or anybody who's ever done a research paper, a term paper, a thesis or anything like that, you've all been faced with research, right? Those things involve investigation so that we can truly come with the best outcome. All right. So now's the opportunity for you to really look at, am I setting the expectation that is performative and that my team will get the best out of what we're offering? Do I need to add some additional resources? Do I need to increase my level of training or find someone who can properly train my team? Right? All of those things are within your bailiwick, and things that in the interim, when there are adjustments or changes in the market, that you can actually assist. Okay. You want to be a motivating leader. You want to motivate others during a time that there's lots of uncertainty or lots of noise. You want to be the one that they come to quiet the noise and still stay focused and on track with the growth or the direction that they're wanting to go. Okay. You're always projecting positive energy. That's so easy to say, so difficult to do. Being a positive influence is a lot of internal resource, and this is where your mettle as a team lead really comes into play. It's difficult to continually be positive, and the reason I say that is, as we look at the positivity that supports and nurtures us, when we're leading someone, we're depleting that positive energy, right? That positive energy also supports us. But that's what a good leader does. Again, think back to someone who had an authoritative role in your life, whether it was your parents, your minister, your priest, your rabbi, your best friend, your friend's parents, whoever it was, your teachers, whoever it was. Those people had to take time to replenish their energy in order to continue to give energy, right? Keep in mind, when your energy is depleted, all you can do is put on an artificial face as though you're still positive, but the reality is you're drained. And again, a good leader is constantly projecting hope and vision, or in this case, their mission and their vision. And these are two qualities that keep your work environment going, even during the tough times. That's what people look at. They're looking at, wow, even in the face of adversity, you still helped guide us to success, right? Think about some of the greatest people in history. Through adversity, they continued to march forward as if there were no hurdles, obstructions, or obstacles. That's who you should be. That's who you should strive to be. People need someone that they can trust and someone who inspires and motivates them continuously, right? And that know how to get things done. As a leader, you should make it a priority to expect great things from your people. Again, setting the right expectations so that they know where to go, what's expected of them when they get there, and they have the proper tools to accomplish those things is what is going to create your high performing team and create respect for you as a leader. All of those things are highly motivating. That's what people are looking for. Believe it or not, people expect to be told what to do. I'm going to say that again because many of you may argue with me. People expect to be told what to do. If you think about the consistencies of your life, it's always based on the fact that people have given you instructions that um, you're constantly looking for those instructions. I've talked many times about the velvet rope effect, which is when you go into a bank and you see there's nobody in the bank other than the teller, and they have that velvet rope. Many of you will still follow the velvet rope because that's a conditioning that you've had since birth. We are trained as human beings, most of us, to follow rules, to follow the guidance of others. That's the majority of us. That's why when we got out of high school or college, we looked for quote unquote jobs. Many of you did not seek out entrepreneurial opportunities. You sought out a job, and a job is where someone tells you to do a thing, and for that thing, at the end of the week, they're going to give you that other thing that we call money, right? Or compensation, right? A job is never anything more than trading time for money. It's essentially someone telling you, I need you to do this task. And if you do this task, or at least give me the illusion that you're doing this task, I'm going to give you this thing called money, right? That's kind of how life works. We're constantly conditioned to follow the direction of others. And it's no different than you. There are very few people that are truly entrepreneurs, that are so self-guided, they can see a vision and execute on that vision and inspire others to believe in that thing as well, right? That's why we have folks that we aspire to be. That's why we have personal and professional heroes, so to speak, is because those people embody the things that we'd like to see ourselves as. But many of us, if not most of us, follow others, right? We don't have our true path. And you've decided to be that person to where others are going to follow you. You're projecting your vision. So as you're keeping in touch with your people, as we're going through this difficult time, show them that you care. They're more than likely to respond to that sentiment because, again, they function from a position of fear at this point. They're not sure how to convert that fear to energy. They're not sure how to reposition that to make it fear energy. So you as a leader, you're constantly wanting to stay focused. You're looking at the big picture, right? And of course, you are human at the end of the day. You are bound to have emotional outbursts, whether alone or with people that you feel that you can confide in. But for your team, you're always positioning yourself from that position of strength. Okay. Always. You're always staying focused on your vision. That big picture is your vision. I can't stress that enough. That's your vision. And in order for someone to follow your vision, you have to be clear on what your vision is. I'm a big fan of taking care of yourself. Guys, I know exactly what it feels like to be a leader. I am a leader. I'm comfortable in saying that, but I also know that I need my downtime. And that's across the board, from my family, from my job, from the folks that I lead, from the folks that I, collaborate with. It's an opportunity to recharge, reflect, allow me to regain focus if I feel that I've lost some. And certainly during an economic downturn or a transition, which is what I'll call it. I know I keep saying economic downturn, but it's really more of a transition. But I know that some of you view it in that way. Um, you've got to take care of yourself. Again, when your battery is low, fortunately, you're that NiCad or that lithium battery to where you can constantly recharge. Other people may just be alkaline batteries to where, right, if that charge goes down, they may never get it back. But you want to constantly take the opportunities for you to recharge. That way you can come out and be strong for others. And that's what being a leader looks like, is you're coming out and being strong and minimizing um, the negative notion, the negative notion that life is going to fall apart. Okay. And that's what I have for you today. So I hoped it helped. Again, I felt like this was critical that we revisit this again so that you can make the necessary adjustments in your thinking so that when you're meeting with your team or when you're meeting with potentials to join you and who you are, that you're mentally ready to actually accommodate some of the negativity they may share with you. Part of the reason why those people may be looking to move from either you or from another team lead is they're just not clear as to, will I be safe? Will next steps be okay? Okay. And as a leader, you are constantly wanting to project and promote the notion that it's going to be good, because if you're older than 6, you've seen good times and bad times, right? Even when it seemed like all was lost and all was hopeless, no matter what life circumstance you may have experienced, right? Uh, Birth of a child, marriage, birth of a child, divorce, loss of a loved one, any of those things, anything that's a significant life moment, we've all experienced at some point, right? And we've all experienced the converse of that, to where it felt like everything was hapless and hopeless, and it wouldn't get any better from this point, but it did. Think of the market of 2006, 2007, 2008. Doom and gloom across the board, right? I was a primary listing agent. I had listings that I couldn't give away. Doom and gloom, but life recovered. I still functioned through that time frame. Many of you did as well. So life is never terminal. It may feel like it in the moment, but life is never terminal. There's always options, and that's what you should all be projecting. Guys, as always, I appreciate you taking time out to spend with me in this leadership ladder series. I will see you all next session. Have a very happy and productive week. Talk to you soon.